Okay, I'm gonna going to Protestant epistemology, Protestant evangelical epistemology, and the fundamental difference from my understanding, between Catholic epistemology, Christian epistemology, and Protestant epistemology is that Protestant epistemology, when we're talking about, again, we're referring to Orthodox. We're talking to the Orthodox Christian, the Orthodox. Yes, I'm going to be stereotypical. The Orthodox, judgmental. I'm the true Christian. You guys are liberal. You do whatever you want. You don't want to follow Christ. Type of Christian. Okay, talking about Forrest, James White. I don't know about Craig. Craig is a Christian apologist, but I haven't really seen Craig make videos about criticizing all the Protestants. We're talking about Boris, James White. Who else? There's some others. Matthew 4:19. I haven't really heard much about him so much. I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard it dip against Catholics a little bit. I don't know how orthodox he is, but Pentecostals are very orthodox. They criticize. There's even sects of branches of Pentecostals that branched off from other Pentecostals that say that we're even more orthodox. It's like Christian epistemology doesn't understand that it should be a time where somebody's going to come out and start attacking the mythology of nobility in your sexual chastity, even the material mythologies, or certain many of these self discipline moral actions that people look at you and they give you this nobility, like this respect. And in some ways you may deserve it. Well, no, you don't really deserve it. You don't really deserve it. I'm sorry, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve respect. You don't deserve it. You don't really deserve anything. It's just, you want to be chaste, fine, but there's nothing else about it. Okay? That's not meaningful. That is not meaningful sacrifice. Just to be chaste because it's hard. Okay, why don't I just be, it's kind of like being a daredevil. Okay, someone's a daredevil and they have courage, but it's meaningless. They're not saving anybody's lives, but it's courage in and of itself. That's bullshit. That's mythology to me. I don't have to respect it. Okay? Not to the degree that society wants me to respect it. I'm not going to. But anyways, Protestant epistemology is based on sola scriptura, that the Bible is the sole authority on morality, or the essential ingredient for salvation, the vital ingredient for salvation in terms of knowledge. Side 10 says, you want to be saved, read the Bible. So you want to defend the Christian faith, read the Bible. Now, Catholics laugh at that, but, wow. It's the Catholic, and I'm talking about the Orthodox Catholic, obviously. We're not talking about regular Catholics. We're talking about the Orthodox Catholic that says, I'm the true Catholic, and everybody else is an idiot or is too loose. Okay? I'm the straight and narrow Catholic, and I'm the true Christian. Therefore, I'm the true Christian, and which is justified in Scripture. Don't get me wrong. That orthodoxy in Christianity is justified in Scripture. It can be justified in Scripture, at least. But anyways, sola scriptura for the Protestant. The same fundamental question. Let's just analyze a little bit, but the same fundamental question needs to be answered. Prove that the Scripture is true. That's not hard. That's not angry atheists. Okay, Michael Voris. It's not angry atheists. You're trying to project some type of image of atheism being angry just for no reason, when in fact atheists simply, or skeptics or agnostics, simply want you to demonstrate that your Scripture is true. It has nothing to do with not wanting to be led. hey, if somebody is right and, and they're going on the right path, I'll follow them. This has nothing to do with us, our character flaws. It has to do with you, because you have to justify hell and eternal torment, that you have to paint us evil. You have to. Based on your orthodoxy, how heavily you believe in your orthodoxy, you have to paint us evil. That means Orthodox Catholics and Orthodox Protestants. Not all, but I'm talking about the aggressive apologist who keeps continuing saying that I'm the real Christian, whether you're Catholic or Protestant, and you're not. And you need to follow the church, or need to follow the church, which the Orthodox Catholic says, that's Boris, or you need to follow the Bible, which the Orthodox Protestant says. Okay. Now, the Protestant epistemology says, well, it's weird because the Protestant epistemology says that everybody can read the Bible and find out the truth by reading the Bible without the church. That is part of Protestantism, or certain part of Protestantism. Potentially, people can read the Bible, find their can read the Bible, and the truth will be revealed to them by Jesus Christ. That is fundamental. That is fundamental Protestantism. Okay. You believe in Jesus Christ, you believe in God, God will tell you. I've seen so many Protestants tell me this. Protestants tell me this all the time. Protestants is just, either they're just dense. I'm sorry, you have to be dense. Because they tell me this, either they don't understand why people turn atheists, or they're just not aware of it, or just in their own world. But the reason why people turn atheists is because they don't have help reading the Bible. See, the Catholics, Boris would say, look at me and say, well, you didn't have the church tell you how you're supposed to read the scripture. So you need to have faith in the saints that are anointed by Jesus Christ in order for you to read the Bible. And actually, the Bible itself, he says, it belongs to the Catholics, the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church tells the non-priest how the scripture should be seen. Okay. They did that probably subconsciously, because they probably instinctively know that if they let the ignorant fool, and I hate to say it that way, but that's how Protestants look at non-Christian. That's how Orthodox Christians, Protestant or Catholics, look at non-believers. You either are saved or you're not saved. Okay, that's the bottom line. The saved are the lost. The saved are not the lost. The saved are the enlightened. The saved are the enlightened. The unsaved are the lost. So when you're talking to the lost, the person, they feel that you're talking to a fool, not in the sense that you don't have intelligence or IQ, but you're not wise. You're not essentially wise, because essential wisdom to them is salvation. Okay, so in Protestantism, it's problematic to let a fool or somebody that's unsaved read the Bible itself. When they believe in Lucifer, and the same thing with the Orthodox Catholics, they believe in Lucifer will deceive you. The devil will go into your mind and make you look at the verses not the way you're supposed to look at them, and you'll become an atheist. To guard you against that, the only solution for Protestantism is a Catholic epistemology. Because if the Catholic epistemology is true in theory, the Catholic epistemology would have one interpretation, or a specific interpretation of Scripture, and it's coherent, and it's exactly the same through generation. We know that's not true, and that's why Voris calls them not really Catholics, since they're liberal. They allow gays and all these people in, which he has a problem with. And contraception, of course, the liberal Catholics are not real Catholics. The theory doesn't work, because a perfect Catholic faith, as Michael Voris says, failed to have the church stay united on those issues, which I'm glad they are not united. As a heathenist, selfish, self-absorbing atheist, which he wants to call us, or whatever he wants to call us, modernist. It's a black and white picture. It's a black and white picture in Orthodox Catholicism as well. I just figured that out. Mike Voris has a black and white mentality, just the same way as an evangelical. It's weird. It's weird that they so much of their worldview is so similar. You either are with us or you're against us. But the bottom line is, with the Protestants, if the Orthodox Protestants want to be effective, Catholicism, in theory, needs to be this. Catholicism has to operate 100% in theory. We know what happens in practice. You've got a broken church. You have Catholics that are questioning the church. You have bishops that are questioning the church. Oh, that's liberalism. That's selfish. That's cowardness. Oh, that's just horrible. That's evil. I mean, Michael Voris is not the only Catholic apologist, to be honest with you. So I can't just pick on him. But the Orthodox Catholics are freaking out, because now they're just going nuts. They're calling him heretics. Call him a heretic. Call him lustful. Call him all these things evil. So what? You call him a bunch of names. Nothing's going to happen, buddy. The more zeal the Orthodox Protestant or Catholic become, that just shows that you're desperate. But again, the Christian fundamentalist Protestant who says, "Oh, you can read the Bible yourself," buddy, that's just a dangerous game. And I really am against you. I want you to tell us to read the Bible for ourselves, because then our own minds will read it and it will reveal itself. Okay, but for your orthodoxy to win, you need to be Catholic, in theory. So Voris is right. When he's talking about all these denominations and we got all these differences, and when he blames Protestantism, he's right. Because Protestantism said, no, you're not the authority. You are not the mediator between me and Jesus Christ. I can talk to Jesus Christ myself, and I can read this Bible by myself, and I don't need you. And once they read that Bible, some of them, they found it to be ridiculous. Some of them found it to be ridiculous. I'm an atheist. Or some of them had different interpretations. And they had interpretations that convicted you, the Catholic Church. That's not anti-Catholicism. That's just the way it is. Yes, the Catholics, they're Catholic. Yes, let's give the Catholics credit for at least having the intellectual honesty to say, okay, the creation story is a myth. Now, I'm not sure if you guys, I'm pretty sure that you guys were probably literalists before, evolutionary evidence. But at least I give you credit for saying, okay, creation story, 6 days, it didn't happen in 6 days. Now, some of the Protestants, let's give some credit to some of the Protestants, they've backed down from that. But they still hold God created the universe. But that's fine, you back down from that. The modernist, thanks to the modernist, not thanks to you. Oh, yes, some Catholics were involved in the science, but still, I'm sure they were trying to hold on to other literal interpretations, just like the fundamentalists that they say magically came out of nowhere. Oh, as if the modern Orthodox Catholic always interpreted the Bible not literally in the Genesis creation story. Come on, Voris. Come on, Come on, Bill Wright. You know that the original fathers of the Catholic Church and literally believed in the creation story. Why would they not? Oh, the biblical flood, that's so irrational in the beginning of the early Christian church. Come on. So you guys say it's a myth and it has religious truth. That's fine. So give primarily the Catholics credit for backing down from creationism, literal creationism in our schools. So that type of their epistemology, well, they didn't really lose much because they still said, okay, well, it's just a metaphorical story with religious truth. God just created the heavens and the earth. It's just a story, a myth. But again, the Catholic, you hear this schism with the epistemology, this epistemological debate between Catholics and Protestants, Orthodox Catholics and Protestants, in terms of which orthodoxy of Christianity is correct. And both sides act like they're rational, completely rational in their approach, and they have no flaws. Catholicism is some Orthodox Catholics are just startled that there's no unity in Christianity, when in fact Protestant Martin Luther started the chain where he just said, you guys are living lavishly, and I'm sure some of your popes were, but I'm sure some of you guys, some of the Catholic apologists were saying that Luther would be a liar because the Catholic Church is so holy. Just the same thing as the Protestants. You guys are so holy. You practice so holy. You trust your church. You trust your church members so much. That's your first defense toward the modernist, the evil modernist, who has no right to question or no right to doubt the authenticity of the Protestants and the Catholics in their orthodoxy. And we're talking about, again, the real Christian, the person who portrays themselves as a true Catholic and goes on YouTube and talks about the fake counterfeit Catholics. That's the same thing. It's the same thing for the Protestants. St. James White, the Mormons are goofballs. Mormons, they get the same lunatic story about some guy getting commandments written down on a turnbuckle. But James White laughs at that. But he has that in the Old Testament. Oh, it's 18 years before. Oh, it came out. Oh, it's too modern, so it's ridiculous. You judgmental Orthodox Catholics and Protestants, and you want to know why we don't like you? We don't like your ideology. You're blind. You don't want to listen. You want to pretend that you're a victim. Okay, pretend. But it's the last word again, because I'm tired. The bottom line is this, and it's very simple. Orthodox Catholicism or Protestantism has major problems when you analyze it objectively. It's not the atheist or it could be an atheist or a Muslim. You could say, well, the atheist just wants to reject God, doesn't want to be held accountable. Whatever you want to say, that's fine, but it still doesn't change the facts. Sola Scriptura, flaw of Sola Scriptura is obvious. Okay, it doesn't prove the Scripture to be true. It doesn't make any sense that a book has all truth. That's laughable. Now, I agree with Michael Voris on that one. Knowledge comes from everywhere. Okay, and that's the problem. And that's the problem. But the problem with Catholicism is that we don't trust the Bible. We should trust the Church, the teachings of the Church. Can we question the Church? Can we say, well, maybe the Pope made an error in their interpretation? Nope. Because you have to trust God. Because if you don't trust the Pope, you don't trust God. That's ultimately what Michael Voss is saying. You don't trust the Pope. You disagree with the Pope's interpretation of Scripture, which is controversial. You don't trust God. But here's the thing, for both Protestants and Catholic, Orthodox ones, the Orthodox true Catholic promoting, always saying this person's not a Christian because they're having premarital sex, they're gay, and they're not trying to have reparative therapy for their gayness, they're not trying to fight their homosexuality. Okay, the true Christian on either side. Here's the bottom line. Okay, I want you guys to hear this, and I want you to understand this. We, as skeptics, will not blindly accept authority based on a belief in an invisible being that we have never seen. Okay? We will not accept authorities from people who say they derive their message from an invisible being without proof. So even if you establish in your debates that God exists, which every one of you do, you come up with your great arguments for God, okay? Even if you establish that, you still haven't proved the Trinity 1 ounce. You have not proved that 3 beings, okay, you haven't proved the Trinity at all. We're not going to blindly accept the Trinity. There's no, how can you ask? How can you have the audacity to ask or command us to accept that? And then when we don't accept it, say, well, it's just your choice, but hey, you choose. You got to suffer forever. You chose. There is nothing logical about the Trinity. Nothing. Nothing logical about the Trinity. And there's nothing logical about us accepting claims in the Bible. Because there's scientific claims that go against every single one of the supernatural claims. Not just the biblical flood, like the Catholics. Oh, it's the biblical flood. Oh, that's maybe mythology. You got enough scientific evidence for that. Oh, Adam and Eve. There's enough science. Oh, well, God didn't create the earth in 6 days, but there's no evidence that disproves Jesus Christ did not resurrect and was not talking to himself on the cross. There's 2 different beings, but one. There's no evidence for that. That's anti-Christian. That's anti-religious. No. There's scientific claims that deny that, the Trinity, Jesus Christ rising and coming back to life. Every single one of those claims in the Bible. That's the fact. And that's what you have to deal with. Okay. So, first of all, I've never seen these authors of the Bible. No one knows their history. Okay. Isaiah, no one knows anything about Isaiah except what some poems he wrote in the book. If that was actually Isaiah. That's one example. So that's the bottom line. Don't try to make the skeptic out to be the evil, selfish one, because they have good reasons not to believe in your not authoritative, your authoritarian ancient manuscript. Have a nice day.